Hi, how are you? Welcome to Impossible Live. Welcome back. If you're joining us for replays, let us know where you're joining from. And when you have a chance, let us know a way we can help you in between our impossible lives. Delighted you're joining us today. And I really want to thank you for popping in. One of the things I'd like to thank you for is your amazing support in Trust Journeys and for sharing a lot of insights about what trust means to you, whether it's personally, professionally, in groups, at work, at home, and for really sharing those insights. So, with that inspiration, leaning in today to trust, creating trust, and pausing for realignment. And the adding the ings is just a reminder this is kind of fluid. It's a process. We meet people, we connect, and we're not sure sometimes if it's really trust. We have a challenging time sometimes identifying it, seeing it, and recognizing it because sometimes trust masks as other things. In the process of create, one of the things that's really neat. Hi, how are you all? Our amazing people joining us on Facebook and later on other platforms. Hi, Kimberly. Welcome. How are you? And thanks again for checking in. One of the reasons it started with create about trust is that some people think they need to inspire trust. Others think they need to earn it. And others may say you need to generate it or foster it, kind of nurse it. And I like to think of create trust from the perspective of us showing up genuinely as ourselves. People are in love with the word authentic this year. And I think in the process of trust and getting to starting to become more aware of others, we're not really sure, really, sometimes what is authentic to a person or not. We don't know each other well enough yet. So, in that process, I'd love to encourage you to think of creating trust and maybe doing two things around it. And a short cut to this for me is something I call elevate your blend. So, in the process of creating trust, if you're bringing energy to share, and that may be the energy that's left over outside of your Gigundo teacup or coffee cup or what's in your saucer, or if you're bringing the ability to radiate and reflect back the energy that you're receiving in an environment, those might be two great ways to create trust. They're helping others elevate their mood, their intention, their goal. You're creating a culture that others may find is magnetic. And in some cases, in our fragile world, you're really helping others see the possibilities of a relationship with you, whether it's professional, whether it's personal, whether it's a mix. But that process of sharing energy or being willing to, and one of the things that can be challenging is when you're doing this face to face, you're maybe face to face, there's so many other environmental things happening that it can be a little bit distracted in terms of building a relationship. And when we're online virtually, one of the things that I really love is leaning in because people are showing up with the most fantastic energy. It makes you want to raise your hand and say, "Hey, how are you? I'd love to meet you. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'd love to learn a way to help you." And in that process, the creating trust kind of has a curiosity to it. It's got a little bit of mystery. We're not necessarily sure what will happen. And I'd love and invite you to keep asking me questions about ways to create it. And the thing about our energies is some days we have really high energy, other days we're chilling out. So, how we're showing up to create trust may be really authentic to us, but others don't see it. They don't recognize it. That it's an invitation to connect. One of the hard things about connecting is we're not sure what others are looking for, whether they're looking for a business relationship, whether they're looking for a collaborator, a coach, a mentor, somebody to become your next amazing client. It leaves so many different angles to explore. It really can get confusing. And that's why after the word create, I suggested the word pause. Pause for a deep dive to really connect in and see if it's a good fit for you, if the conversations you're having, if the encouragement you're receiving. Kimberly Lechnick is a really great example. Whenever you meet with Kimberly, you have this amazing, relaxing, wonderful woman inviting you in. Some of the people joining us on Facebook right now have amazing energy, and it's something you want to respond to. You may be not sure of how to reach out. You're not sure of how to connect with the person. You're not sure the next time you'll see them. And so that pause is really, is this something that we can recreate? Is this, some coaches like the question, does that serve you? I'm allergic to it, just to let you know. But does it feel like it's a relationship that you'd really like to welcome into your life? When you're present, do you both feel like you're actively listening or deep listening or connecting with somebody like Lachelle from America's Supermom? Oh, Kimberly, so well deserved. But do you feel like there's active and deep listening on both sides? Like you really hear each other, or that you're exploring with curiosity, with respect, as opposed to sometimes you meet somebody and they're asking you zillions of questions and you're not sure whether they're just trying to sell you the next best widget, whether, and a conversation I had last week with an amazing gentleman who I've been following for a couple of years, but we finally had a chance to connect last week. In the process, he let me know somebody else had reached out to him and picked his brain on a topic. Next thing you knew, that person had a presentation and a program on something that he might have felt was internal and proprietary. And that's the part when we pause. Sometimes it's a pause because we're kind of doing the dance. We're in an observation mode where we're not sure where that relationship is going to meet us, or where the relationship is going to go. We may also in that pause be really discerning about what's happening from an observation perspective. Is this a collaboration I'd like to step into? Does this person really respect my privacy? Do they respect cues? Because maybe that pause is because you're about to go on vacation, or it's about to be your busy season, or there's something really big and deep that's about to happen. And people can really sometimes change our energy. And that's the part in the pause, that it's a deep dive. When something changes, I wasn't always aware that, hey, beautiful Lachelle, how are you? That I wasn't always aware that something was happening to change the energy because I wasn't in observation mode. We're meeting, we're connecting, we're exchanging information, and you just realize that something's going on, but it takes a couple of clues. It takes a couple of steps for you to really realize what is happening. And that's why the realignment, when you're reconnecting with this amazing human, or they're reaching out to you, something may feel like it's changing. And in that, I think there's a good possibility for relationships to grow. We're acknowledging some time has passed. We're looking at the fact that mm, maybe we're reestablishing a connection, or we're ready to take the next step, or we've increased our comfort levels. And hopefully, they have increased dramatically. And I think that's one of the things that's challenging in lasting relationships. They're going to change over time. How we approach each other will change, how we respond to each other, the rate at which we respond. Sometimes the encouragement, and at other times, it's the support that changes. And in all these, hmm, it's hard sometimes unless you're seeing someone daily on a very regular basis, you're meeting with them, or you're having an opportunity to see them in different roles. What I love is Yvette Bethel and of Organizational Soul when I started exploring some of the trust tools that she was sharing with me last year. She has an amazing tool called the Spiral of Trust. And it helps us look at our relationships and trust as if they're muscles we're building. So you have an opportunity to look at a relationship that maybe is just absolutely amazing, that's bringing you tons of joy and safety, comfort, mentoring, coaching, collaboration. It just rocks. The energy just really makes your day. And in those, the highest part of Yvette's spiral of trust is deep connected trust. On the other end of the spiral, and it ranges because there's stages in every relationship, there can be intense distrust. And it's hard when the spiral, a way to use the spiral in a way that I started using it with clients and small teams, is to really look at our relationships over time on the spiral. Where do they fit? Where are they evolving? You may meet somebody who you're not sure yet if you trust, but you don't distrust them either. And over time, that relationship may move north and south. Maybe a family member who you only see around the holidays or on special occasions. And you maybe don't always get each other. So the relationship feels really fluid or kind of like it's moving. And these things along the spiral of trust, it's a way to measure it using a tool that you can look at in any relationship over time. When I started looking at using the spiral of trust, I started using it quarterly. And I used it quarterly because some of the newer relationships, I wasn't sure where they fit. They weren't really moving up and down on the spectrum. And that's pretty cool. There may be longer relationships that are evolving over time and they don't move quickly. You basically trust each other, you support each other, you encourage each other, you recognize the really great parts in each other's energy, you help look out for opportunities for each other, you're collaborators, you show up, or you're building a culture. Look at Lachelle and Kimberly and their group, The Power of the Moment. They start in the beginning by inviting us into a really safe, wonderful community. And I thank you, lovely ladies, for being the great example. Because somebody can create something, you can take a step in, you're not really sure where it's going. So maybe you're in that pause or that deep dive. And maybe at some other point, you step back in to really investigate it and see what it's like. This is not a magic formula for igniting trust, but it's a formula for you to explore what trust means to you personally, professionally, in a relationship, and over time. Had the pleasure of meeting some amazing people who looked on paper like they were interested in being collaborators. It fit that example that of a virtual coffee or cappuccino last week. where people are really just looking for information or answers so they can take their next steps. They're not there with the energy to support you yet. And that may come over time. And we're all at different phases. And I love to help others learn to earn so they can really flourish in our fragile world. So it's not that maybe you're sharing something that you felt later you shouldn't have, but that process of pausing teaches us that that relationship is not necessarily one that we should have entered into as quickly, or that it's a relationship that we really could have slowed up the frame of the development of the relationship, the pace of it, but really respect the energy part. So really hmm, you're elevating your blend, you're making space to emerge, you're treating trust like it's a gift. And it's a gift that sometimes, hi Leslie, how are you, beautiful? There's that sometimes we give freely. Sometimes we feel we gave it too quickly. Other times it's a gift that we need to remember to treasure, whether we're on the receiving end or on the ends where we're just starting to give it. The hardest part about it is there's no real system. It's really checking in with six or maybe seven senses to really see what aligns for us, what we want to change, what we want to welcome. I love to think of the process of creating trust or igniting trust as an opportunity to show up trust willing, to show up trustworthy, to pursue trust opportunities when they feel like they could be magical. And really grateful for some incredible relationships, incredible high trust relationships that were just the most beautiful gifts from the universe. And thank you all for those of you who give and share those gifts mm, with such a wonderful style. Really appreciate you. Had a fabulous conversation with Leslie last week, and I'm really looking forward to continuing it shortly. And I needed to pause for family. The family pause was needed. And I appreciate people in our relationships who realize that sometimes the pace changes because family changes, because life changes, and that we lean into it because otherwise people sometimes feel that they're being ghosted or someone's ignoring them. There may be something happening in that other person's life that you're just not aware of across time zones. Allow the pause part because they may really need it. And when you reach out, check in case they need some support and you're willing or able to send everything from a warm hug to a virtual toast. And by the way, today is Shel Shapiro's birthday. So, Shel, shout out, and Celebration Day is definitely here. One of the things, too, as we're talking about trust, is to really define it in a way and redefine it. What does it mean to you? I've got a bunch of upcoming trainings about exploring opportunities and exploring trust opportunities in a way that lets you determine whether you want to ignite trust or not. Testing them out. And the ones that everybody might be able to use easily in the process of exploring trust are the active listening, are the discernment, that leaning in. Is this right for you? Is this right for the person that you're speaking with? Is there really, truly chemistry there? That's a hard test. So good luck with that one. And the other one is privacy. When we mention things and we hear someone repeat them later in public settings, it changes the dynamics of our relationship. It changes our communication. Sometimes it's a shout out. That's really helpful. Sometimes unexpected, but sometimes the other one is an announcement of information we weren't ready to share yet. So I really want to just thank you for joining us today and popping in today for trust, create and pause for realignment. Please pop in for more of our monthly trust discussions. I have some upcoming presentations on trust. Love for you to pop in, join us, and support us. And if there's something that you're stuck on in this process of building trust with your team, with clients, with collaborators, with families, please reach out. It'd be my pleasure to help you explore igniting trust at your own pace, in your own style, and in your own way. Have an amazing day and a magnificent one. And I hope it's a magnificent day filled with opportunities and possibilities. And that you stay safe, stay well, stay inspired, stay in touch. Take great care until we see each other again. Be well. Thanks again for joining us.